New polling on the shutdown just released this morning asked in the CBS News poll if the border wall is worth the shutdown. 71% say no. Just 28% say yes. Asked what should President Trump do now? 2 and 3? 66% say he should agree to the budget without money for the wall. 31% say he should refuse the budget in exchange for wall funding. As for the Democrats, 52% say they should agree to a budget with wall funding. 43% say they should refuse to fund a border wall. President Trump's approval rating has slipped 3 points in this poll, down to 36%, 59% disapprove. So, Michael Steele, I'm just thinking ahead for the Democrats. One congressman has raised the idea of giving him the money. It's just a thought that I'm pushing because I'm wondering what the other options are. It's ridiculous. Americans see that it's ridiculous. You can do the math. People can crawl under, climb over walls. The wall is the stupidest idea on earth. We get that. But if he doesn't have empathy, which all indications show he does not, then he doesn't care that people are suffering. How does this shutdown end? How does Congress and the Senate go around the president if Mitch McConnell won't budge and Republicans won't budge? And how do Democrats not lose the narrative here that this is Trump's shutdown?
Well, that is the conundrum, I think, that Nancy Pelosi and her team find themselves in, and certainly having some Democrats, at least one, come out and say, just give them the wall, but let's put some strings on that, may offer a way forward. But it's a difficult one because behind each of these posts, whether it's Donald Trump or Nancy Pelosi, is an animated and an excited base core supporters who want them to stay in those locked positions. Nancy Pelosi would have a very hard time explaining to a lot of her own members, let alone a broader coalition of her own voters out there, why she capitulated and gave the hostage taker the goods. And that's the rub here. So maybe that sweet spot does exist. It's both sides right now just don't find it. The American people, though, are giving them some guideposts here and saying what they absolutely do not want to see happen. And the question is whether or not the leadership has the strength to pull in that direction. And the more the president digs in, Steve, as we look deeper into the CBS poll, the lower his approval ratings go. He's at 36% right now with a disapproval of 59%, according to the CBS poll that just came out this morning. And to Michael Steele's point, being president isn't about appealing to your base. At least it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be about governing the country, the entire country. And you have these federal workers out of work. You have the contractors who aren't working. He doesn't seem to even have the humanity to look at that piece of the story. He just wants to deliver on the chance he led in 2015 and 16 to build the wall.
Yeah, look, I think the president, though, just as a purely political matter, has handled this about as badly as you could, going back to the famous meeting in the Oval Office where he said, I'll own the shutdown. Right. The general rule of thumb is that the party that shuts the government down owns the shutdown. A year ago, when the Democrats were perceived to have led the shutdown, it ended very quickly because it was politically damaging to them. And now the president just keeps doubling down on his position. There are compromises here. It's not hard to see how two rational parties could get together and it's a fairly trivial amount of money. The president said you can call it peaches if you don't want to call it a wall. And Pence has said there's flexibility. So it's simply the president just being stubborn, and he's his own worst enemy, and that's why he's at 36%.
But you can see why Democrats aren't giving in here, because by every barometer, both in this CBS poll and in the NBC Marist poll, they are winning. The president's approval rating has dropped 7 points since December, and it is starting to crumble among his base. When you drill down here, suburban men down 18 points since December. This is all revolving around the shutdown. The Washington Post had a great story the other day out of Macomb County, which is the quintessential swing county, talking to Trump voters who say, I don't know what he's doing here. I am not for this shutdown. And so the president is taking the lion's share of the blame.
Well, and the president's tweeting, basically urging Republicans to stick with him. We will have much more on the impacts of the shutdown ahead, as FBI agents warn that the impasse is affecting law enforcement operations. Plus, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez says a system that allows billionaires to exist is immoral, and now she may be in a position to do something about it. We'll explain it ahead on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.